Hi, I'm Dennis Gage, and welcome to My Classic Car. Well, this week we're in the heart of New Jersey at 1313 Mockingbird Lane to visit my good buddy John from the Dead Man's Curve Car Club.
Everybody's in?
I'm not sure this is a good idea. Now, John's got a lot of insane TV and movie cars, and I've already done a few of them, but today we're doing a Munsters theme. We got the Dragula, and we got Herman's Coach. This is going to be such a blast. Let's crank these babies up.
Dennis,
John, great to see you, man.
good to see you.
So we meet again.
We meet again.
You know, actually, our history goes back. You're a Dead Man's Curve Car Club member.
Yes, I am.
And that's where I met you, when you were at one of the early Wild Hot Rod weekend shows.
Oh, yeah.
And you had the Mailman Special, is that right?
Yep.
Your dad's car.
Dad's car.
That was on the Ed Sullivan Show with the Beach Boys in '64.
64.
Wow. And I said, oh, this cat's cool.
Yeah.
and I love his story. I mean, he's a real hot rodder, the real deal. Then I got to know you, and I realized not only did you have that car, but you're really into TV and movie cars.
Yeah.
We came out and we did the Red Baron, and we did the Fireball 500.
Yeah.
And that's when I really saw all that you did have.
Yeah.
And I knew I had to come back. So today it's a Munster theme.
Yep. Welcome back.
Welcome back. Great to be back, I must say. These are both Barris cars. These are both from the show, but not. These were made later, but under the auspices of George Barris. Is that right?
Yes.
What's the story?
They're true Barris Customs. They were built by Keith Dean. Keith Dean's dad, Dick Dean, built the first Coach and Dragula.
Uh-huh.
This was built by Keith Dean and George Barris as a giveaway car
Oh, seriously?
for a casino in Florida, and it was raffled off on Halloween.
Perfect.
Yes. So an elderly woman had won the raffle. She won the car, she took the car home, and from that point on, the car just disappeared. A fellow club member, Butch Patrick, I had reached out to him and asked him, I says, do you know where the number 3 Dragula would be?
A fellow club member, Butch Patrick, a.k.a. Eddie Munster.
Eddie Munster, yes.
So he might have a connection.
He might have the connection. So he started looking, and a little time went by, and I got a phone call from him, and he said, I found it.
Wow.
And
So where was it?
It was in Florida.
Oh, it's still there?
It was in Florida, yep. And we went to Florida, we picked it up, and we brought it back.
Was it in pretty good shape? I mean, had it just kind of sat there?
It just sat. It was in great condition.
Wow. So this is the number 3. Number 1 for both of these cars were actually on the show.
Yes.
Then they built another, and then this was the third.
The third, yes.
Exactly like the original.
Yes.
Is this all fiberglass?
It's fiberglass. There's an original mold.
Uh-huh.
And what they do is Keith builds it off the original molds.
Oh. What's the engine in it?
It's a 289 Ford.
A 289?
Mounted to a C4 transmission. That is connected with a very tiny drive shaft to a Ford Banjo rear end.
So you're probably
40.
basically sitting on it with that pumpkin between your legs.
You're sitting right on the
Oh,
pumpkin, yes.
that always makes me nervous, I must say.
Yeah.
What a wild dual quad and manifold setup.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's totally 60s setup. It's an Edelbrock XF8 manifold with 2 Holley 650s mounted to it. The scoops were hand formed, you know, and then re-chromed and polished from that point on. It's got an Elco fuel tank, vintage Elco, which you really don't even see any of them anymore around.
I mean, that's it?
That's it, right there.
So it doesn't go very far.
It don't go very
Just
far.
a quarter mile at a time,
That's
you know.
it. That's it.
That's all I need. Holy cow. And it was the Dragula. And so this thing in the show, there was a reason this car was built.
Yes. What happened was Herman went out and raced the Coach, and he lost the Coach in a race. So when he got
title
home,
race, pink slip race?
a pink slip race.
Ah.
So when he got home, Lily was very upset. So Grandpa was upset. So Grandpa had to build a car to win the Coach back and bring it back home.
So that's why Dragula was created.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
So, you know, I mean, Barris built so many of these cars, and it had to be such a wild thing because it was, all right, we need something crazy and we need it quick. Do your stuff.
Do your stuff.
that
Everything
voodoo.
was like in a 10-day period, kind of 15-day period.
Now, are these baffled at all, or?
No, those are straight pipes right out of the motor. Those are the organ pipes.
That's just hilarious, man.
It is.
And I love that there's a lot more flake in this nose than there is in the rest of the Coffin, but it's such a great color, and then the purple seat. I just love this thing.
I know.
Oh yeah, and
Everything goes
you're right. I
together.
mean, so you are sitting there, you're straddling The pumpkin right there. Oh,
Yep.
jeez. It doesn't look like it's built for comfort, I must say. But it's a C4, so it's an automatic, huh?
Yes.
You know, Barris did a lot of weird things. He would go to hardware stores, you know, and he'd use drawer pull knobs,
You're right.
and he'd use, I mean, because these look like lamps.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, they do.
He'd just go down and find, that'll work, and he'd slap it on there. This actually runs,
Yes.
but you don't run it.
No, I don't run it much. What happens is the motor runs, I would say, kind of hot, and we have George's signature on the front
It's
of
like
the casket.
right up here.
Yeah, so I don't want to really damage the paint.
Right.
And damage the signature by running it. So
It's a show car.
it's a show car.
Yeah, that's you know, it's a cool car, but this may be the coolest thing about it.
It is,
George's signature.
It is.
George is not with us anymore.
No.
I guess I'll just have to drive this in my dreams. But let's talk about the other one that does run and drive,
Sure.
the Munster Coach. What do you say?
Let's go.
So Dragula saved and got back Herman's Coach, right?
Yes, it did.
Grandpa won the drag race, and
Brought
he
the
won
car
back.
home.
It brought the car home. Lily was so happy.
Very happy.
So this too is a number 3 car.
Yes.
Barris Blessed built, but in Keith Dean's shop.
Yes. Built by Keith Dean along with George Barris. And all the same tooling was used on the fenders and all the metal.
So is the fender steel?
The fenders are steel. They're all handmade, all bead rolled with the same bead roller as what they use on the show. The radiator shell is all custom, shortened. It has a 289 Ford Cobra motor backed up by a 6-volt generator.
10 carbs?
10 carbs. It has a custom manifold, and every carb works.
And they're all single barrel.
They're all single barrel carders.
And are they progressive? Or
No, they
They're-
all, when you hit the gas, they all
They're all
open up.
on.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
These fenders too, the fact they don't turn down, they kind of come out as spears, make it look kind of sinister.
More spooky, yeah.
More spooky for
Yep.
sure. I think it's the black and red pinstriping, but I get a Black Widow feel out of it.
Yeah, that's what it gives you.
I'm assuming that's a dummy crank.
Yes, it is.
It's just there for show.
That's there for sure.
And is this more, George Barris hardware store stuff? Because these look like, you know, Coach lights for a house or
Yeah,
you know, lanterns
yes,
for a
they are.
house. Is this an actual motometer here? This is the real deal?
Yeah, it's a turn of the century, 1900 Boyce motometer. It's unrestored and it works perfect.
Are you running drum brakes on it?
Drum brakes all around, 40 Ford.
It's coming straight off the engine. Are there baffles in this thing at all? Or?
This car has baffles.
But it's still got to be pretty raucous.
Yeah, it's still loud. The motor's just so powerful.
Again, for the show, which ran in 64 through 66, the originals were built back then. When did they build number 3?
This was built in the late 80s,
Uh-huh.
I was told.
So these are steel. Is the rest of the body steel?
The rest of the body is fiberglass.
Oh.
It was built off a steel body
Uh-huh.
and then all put together piece by piece.
I also noticed, and it just caught my eye, the mags, which look kind of 60s Krager-esque, but there's this wood grain in it to give it
wood
that
tone.
wood spoke illusion.
Yeah, that was a perfect touch.
Oh, it's
They're-
awesome.
Astro Supremes out of the 60s.
Yeah.
They're original Astros, backed up by Krager lug nuts. And the wood tone is just a perfect touch.
And it says funeral everywhere. Basically, you got the fringes. I mean, you know, this is one big rest in peace.
Yeah, it is.
Quite a shifter. Actually, a real hearse that's been reworked a bit.
It's got S&W gauges, you know, period correct from the 60s.
Gosh, and it really does. I mean, you look in there, the curtains, the velvet. It's very peaceful. It's probably very peaceful till you start it up.
It's true.
then the piece is shattered. You do a lot of car shows with these.
Yeah, this car comes out, you know, at least 3 weekends out of 4
Yeah.
a month, and it's a very popular car. People love it.
Well, it is iconic, and you know, the show was really a piece of pop culture history, and yet it only ran 2 seasons.
I know.
But
You're right.
but it really made an impression. It was, I mean, I grew up with it.
Yeah.
It was just this crazy, you know, absurd show. It was actually pretty funny.
Yeah, you know what it was? It was good, clean fun.
Yeah, it was. It was. Nobody was harmed in the filming of that show. Nobody really died.
No.
They referred to it a lot, but they didn't really. So you've got the front 2 seats. You've got this one here, which.
This was called Grandpa's Lab. So this is where Grandpa went and he put all his, you know, brews together and all his concoctions. And
then back here was sort of the...
that was like the living room for the family.
Right, the king and queen kind of live back. Love the phone, dial phone. We've added an 8-track.
Yeah, that's a Munster. And at the time, Barris was putting them in all his movie cars.
And a leatherette top here. And then your fenders don't turn down, they kick up.
Right, they kick up. That was like the flow of, you know.
And 3 steps to let you in. Again, these Coach lanterns.
Yeah.
And this would be fun.
That's Eddie's perch.
Was that where Eddie ran?
Yeah.
So you've got slicks on the back and looks like bias plies on the front.
Yes.
Holy cow. And another, just a basic, you know, straight
Tembo
axle.
rear, yeah, in the back. Backed up with chrome shocks and you had your ladder bars.
So this one does run. How does it run?
It's a hot rod.
It's a hot rod.
Yeah.
What do you say we hot rod it a little bit?
Let's go.
Can I drive it?
Let's go right now.
Okay. Oh, that's a stiff clutch, John. Here we go. Hopefully.
Press hard.
Here we go. Press hard. Flame on. Yowza. Okay.
You got it.
What do you think? There we go. Boy, she fired up nice though.
Yeah.
With 10 carburetors.
Runs great.
Boom, boom, boom. Try second. It's got a second gear too.
It's got second.
Wow. All the comforts of home.
It's got hydraulic brakes.
Oh, that's nice. It doesn't have power steering. I don't know if you know that.
No. No power
Not
steering.
at all. You know, you go to an amusement park and you ride those cars that are on a track.
Yeah.
And you're steering them like crazy, but it doesn't really do anything.
Right.
It's kind of this feel.
It feels the same way. You're right.
And you're running all 10 carburetors all the time.
All 10, all the time, and they have 1-barrel carders.
Jeez. You know what? Even with baffles in those pipes, it's kind of loud.
Still loud.
A little bit.
I think it's possessed.
It could be. It definitely could be.
This is a true hot rod.
No kid. Now this is the number 3. Where did you find this car?
Number 3 Barris Coach. Came out of Chicago and was just in a collection.
Was this part of a must-have for you?
Yeah, yes.
So the original one, the show like only ran 64 to 66. It was just a 2-season show, right?
Yes.
So this must have, the original one of these was built in probably 64. Wow.
64.
It had to be great. You know, Barris back then was just come up with the craziest thing you can come up with. What do you got?
Right?
And this thing was not based on anything really, right? I mean, this was just, he needed to make this crazy funeral coach.
This was another, I think, 2 or 3 week build. They took 3 tea buckets and put them together.
Now this one's primarily fiberglass. Was the original one steel, I guess?
Original one was all steel.
Holy cow, this thing's insane.
And you feel the power, right? It's so
Oh,
powerful.
man. I don't know, I'd want to go too fast in it, though. I'm surprised how good it runs.
It really does. It runs nice. It's smooth.
You know, the other thing that's kind of cool is it's an open car, but these side curtains keep the wind off you.
Yeah, they do.
I like how the dingle balls, the fringes
Yeah,
are blowing in the breeze, though.
Open up.
This thing is so crazy. And it's a 289, right? It's a Cobra motor.
289 Ford Cobra motor.
This is hilarious.
Hey, I never knew you could throw gears like that, Dennis.
This thing's actually a blast. until our next meeting, remember, honor the timeless classic. I'm Dennis Gage in the Munster Coach. Happy motoring.